Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Saturday, June 13th, 2015, around 7:19 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. The sun's going down in about an hour. Nice and sunny day with low humidity. Love it. Tomorrow's going to be the same thing, but it's going to get cloudy, and Monday's going to be damp and raw and 60, but luckily it's not 50 like a couple weeks ago. Some news to report. The Boston Red Sox lost again to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 5-4 in 11 innings, and the Red Sox are awful. I hate to say this, they're awful. They're going to probably be finishing last place again, and I think John Farrell, the manager's on the hot seat, and it would not surprise me if the Red Sox decide to fire him because the players are losing faith in John Farrell. And also, it's been confirmed that Mel Brooks is going to have a sequel of his classic 1987 comedy movie Spaceballs, kind of a parody of Star Wars in development, Spaceballs 2. And one other thing before my final video blog of the night, read this book. It's a good book. It's about Reagan, the life. It's about our 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan's biography. It's a good book and stuff, tells you all the stuff. And Ronald Reagan's one of the beloved presidents in U.S. history. So get that book at the library or online or at bookstores. There's not too many of them left. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my personality profile. Tonight's personality profile is former WWE diva Ivory. Ivory was a WWE diva for about 6 years. She held the WWE Women's title for 3 separate occasions. She was a great wrestler, women's wrestler and stuff. Ivory's real name is Lisa Mary Morelli, and she's part Italian, part Spanish descent. She was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. She went to the University of Southern California, majoring in public relations, and when she was still in college, she was a cheerleader for the LA Express of the old USFL. And after college, Ivory worked as a makeup artist for Revlon, and then she got the wrestling bug. She watched some professional wrestling. She wanted to be trained to become a professional wrestler. She was trained by WWE Hall of Famer Wendy Richter and Mondo Guerrero of the famous Guerrero brothers, which he's the older brother of the late great WWE Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero. I lie, I cheat, I steal. Anyway, Ivory made her professional wrestling debut in the mid-1980s, around 1986, and she wrestled for many women's wrestling organizations like GLOW, PWOW, and LPWA. She worked under many names, including Nina and Tina Farelli and Tina Morelli, and a real name, Lisa Morelli, and she was a decent women's wrestler and stuff like that, but she did not get any breaks going into WWE or WCW at that time because WCW and WWE did not really focus on women's wrestling back in the late 80s and early 90s. Then Lisa disappeared from the wrestling scene for many years, going back into the world of like cosmetics and stuff like that. But in 1999, Lisa came back to the world of professional wrestling. She signed a contract with the WWE. She made her debut at a house show as one of the Godfather's hoes. Come get on the whole train. Pimping ain't easy. But eventually, Lisa Morelli made a WWE television debut in February of 1999 as Ivory, the manager of Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown. She was a manager for them for a few months. She got into a feud with Deborah McMichaels, puppies and stuff, and also Ivory wrestled Jacqueline and Sable and a couple of other women's wrestlers and stuff, and she was getting a decent push. She first started out as a face, but then she turned heel in, I think, May of 1999, and then in June of 1999, Ivory defeated Deborah on a episode of Monday Night Raw to win the WWE Women's Champion. She eventually got a bodyguard, Nicole Bass, and Ivory was WWE Women's Champion for about 5 months. And in 1999, she had a big feud with, I remember she challenging fans out of the crowd. Many of them were like probably indie women's wrestlers and stuff, or there was one who was a Asian wrestler and stuff, but they never had a match with Ivory on television. These were just open challenges. But there was one time an open challenge, and Tori pops up, and then Tori and Ivory have kind of a little bit of a feud. A few times Tori wrestled like other women's wrestlers before, like on heat and stuff, and then Ivory attacks her and puts skank on it and just getting heel heat. And Tori and Ivory have a match at SummerSlam, and Ivory wins it to retain the women's title. And then the first episode of SmackDown, they had a kind of an evening gown match, and Tori was going to come down with her top, and they couldn't allow that because it was on national television, so she had to wear like a white dress suit and shirt and stuff like that, and like it was a good match. And eventually Ivory and Tori wrestled a hardcore match on Monday Night Raw, which was pretty good and stuff like that. Eventually, Ivory got into a feud with the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young and stuff, and talking smack about Moolah and Mae Young and this and that. They had a 2-on-1 handicap evening gown match on Raw, which was very, very funny and stuff. Man, you could have seen this. Moolah got the best of Ivory, and then eventually Ivory and Moolah wrestled at a pay-per-view at No Mercy 1999 for the WWE Women's title. Moolah wins the women's title over Ivory, but a week later on Monday Night Raw, Ivory regains the women's championship. Then Ivory continues to hold the women's title until December 1999 at a pay-per-view between Jacqueline and BB and Miss Kitty. It was like a pole match and stuff, and Miss Kitty won it. And this is when Miss Kitty accidentally exposed her breast and stuff on pay-per-view. That's another story for another day. And then for many months in 2000, Ivory was being defocused into the WWE storyline. She was not on television too much and stuff, and she was being de-pushed and stuff. But in the fall of 2000, Ivory returned to WWE TV as one of the members of the Right to Censor, and Ivory wore a white shirt and kind of a skirt that which old librarians used to wear, and she also wore boots that weren't really wrestling boots, but she stopped wearing them after a couple of times because she got injured and stuff. She suffered a sprained ankle, so she had to wear wrestling boots. And the Right to Censor angle was, the parody of the PTC. And Ivory eventually became women's champion by beating Lita on a Raw, and then Ivory holds the women's title again for the next several months. She feuded with Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, and then she gets into a long-running feud with Chyna. They had a match at Royal Rumble 2001 between Chyna and Ivory for the WWE Women's Championship. Ivory wins it by, when the referee stopped the match when when she injures China, and Stefan let the right to censor help her, and China's taken out on a stretcher. But this was just to set up for WrestleMania 17. Plus, this was an injury angle for China to sign autographs for a book that came out, which was a New York Times bestseller. If they only knew, it's a good book. Get the book on Amazon. And anyway, Ivory was mocking China a lot, like doing that. She was mocking like that just to get a lot of heel heat, because the right to censor had a lot of heat with him as probably one of the most over heels during that time period in the WWE. Eventually, China beats Ivory at WrestleMania 17, and soon afterwards the rights to censor was dropped, and Ivory becomes kind of a bit player in the WWE. She briefly joins the Alliance and storyline, but when that's over, Ivory's basically on and off television. She actually is a trainer for the second season of Tough Enough and stuff. And Ivory doesn't get into too many storylines for women. She was kind of being phased out and stuff. She was drafted to the SmackDown brand in 2002 briefly, but then she came back on Raw, and she actually turned face again. And she beat the women's champion Jazz a couple of times on Monday Night Raw in non-title matches or mixed six tag team matches, and there was a push to get Ivory the women's title again for the WWE, this time as a face for the fourth time, but those plans never materialized because they signed Gail Kim, and they gave Gail Kim the WWE Women's title on her first televised match in a women's battle royal on Monday Night Raw in June of 2003, but that was a big mistake, but I'm not going to talk about that. And for the final 2 years, Ivory was under contract. She was basically an announcer on WWE shows like The Experience and stuff. She did some interviews on paid per-views for the WWE. She was featured in many of those divas videos, DVDs, and posters and stuff like that. It was a little disappointed because Ivory had great wrestling skills and stuff, but they were wasting her talents for her doing diva poses and DVDs and being stuck in the announce booth. It was awful. And then in mid-2005, WWE notified Ivory that her contract wasn't going to be renewed and stuff. I think they've just basically ran out of ideas for her. Plus, she was in the mid-40s and they didn't see too much of a future in her for wrestling. So WWE released her. She briefly went back on the independent circuit for Women's Superstars Uncensored for about a year in 2005-2006, wrestling under her real name, Lisa Morelli. And then she basically retired from the wrestling business. She worked for landscaping for a while, and then she volunteers a lot for animal shelters. She got a grooming license to groom dogs and cats, and she's doing that as of today. And she's done a few shoot interviews on this for RF Video and for Kayfabe Memories. They're pretty good shoot interviews. I love shoot interviews. Maybe I'm going to do a shoot interview one of these days with somebody I know. But anyway, that's about it and I don't know if Ivory's ever going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. She kind of has qualifications for it, but the WWE might take years for Ivory to get into the WWE Hall of Fame, but we'll wait and see about that. And that's about it on this video blog, and that's it for these video blogs for the night. Tomorrow, you're going to get 3 more. Like every day, at least 3 video blogs. If there's a special topic, you get 4. But tomorrow will be 3. First video blog will be about my review of the 1994 WWE King of the Ring pay-per-view from Baltimore, Maryland. And then the second video blog will be about why the Detroit Red Wings should move back to the Western Conference in the NHL. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about the person I profile, which will be about former WWE diva Molly Holly. And next week, more King of the Ring pay-per-views reviews coming up. And next week for the personality profiles, it's going to be 7 straight days of Los Angeles-based athletes. It's going to be amazing. And some of the other topics for next week, which could be covered, my junior prom memories, Max 2, more MBTA bus routes, and so many others. So have a good night, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and keep calm. And I'm a Julie Bratton guy. And in the words of Dr. Thomas Sharkey would say, this action will not be tolerated at BMHS. Good night, everybody.